Hey everyone, this is Mitch with Scruffy City Aquatics. I figured it was time to do another update on the 75 gallon for a couple of reasons. One, there's been some additions. There's some new plants and there's some new inhabitants. Also, I'm about to tear this tank down. I'm very, very close. This weekend, I got new substrate and I got some lava rock. I've got the rock that's been soaking, trying to get rid of the ammonia from where my dog peed on it. And I've got two pieces of wood that have been in a 32 gallon trash can soaking so that they'll sink, and they have sunk. So I have everything that I plan on changing ready to go. The only thing that has to happen is removing everything that's in here. I'm going to pull all the wood, I'm going to pull all the larger rocks, I'm going to pull all the plants, and I'm going to rearrange the filtration. I also have an Aquarium Co-op power head coming for my large sponge filter. Really excited about that. The 75 gallon, as we've been doing the live streams and I've been preparing for those, I found the importance of flow in my tank. And although I do have some flow, as I watch this, even with the spray bar, I don't see enough on the right hand side of the tank, and that's where I'm seeing the blackbeard algae. I know too much flow can also promote that, but I don't have enough at the moment. So let's go through this tank. I'll try to start with some new additions, and then we'll do some updates. The first new additions that we're going to look at are these plants. When Tanner came into town, he brought me a few plants. I also gave him a plant. I only had one he didn't have. But we'll take a look at these real quick. I'm trying to move a net. I've been catching fry again today. That'll be part of this video, part of this update. These plants, I can't tell you what they are because I don't know. He's supposed to message me and tell me what these crypts are. But this crypt, it is currently transitioning. It's not looking too hot right now, but it's got this, I don't know, it's got a different color to it. It's got some I don't see any of what it's supposed to have right now. Let me see if I can scoot it back some into the light, because right now it's just kind of right here. It just looks like crypt to me right now. But I know that when he brought it to me, it had some lines in it and looked very different from, yeah, it's got a couple of colors in it. So it's got both the green and the bronze color. And he gave me 2 or 3 pieces. They all looked pretty good when he gave them to me. This one's got an offshoot here, so that's good. Good, healthy roots on this. That's great. And here's another one. This one's a little bit smaller. I have not planted these. I have not planted any of these that I got from him this past weekend. This valve is looking rough. Pull that off. And then there is also this stem plant, which he told me the name. I just can't remember. I really like it. I like the look of it. I have it floating. I need to pull out some of these leaves that are coming off of it. I have it floating so it'll transition some. It does have a good root system. He did not just trim off some of these plants and send them or bring them. He brought me some roots. But I've got it transitioning to my water. Anytime I've gotten plants from people in Middle Tennessee, I tend to see some melt. So I figured, why plant these, especially since I'm going to be pulling everything out here soon. So they're just kind of chilling up here at the top. They're probably doing better in my water right now because of that. And yeah, they're not shedding a lot of leaves. I've seen some leaves come off, but I will plant this in my substrate when I redo the tank. All right, so those are 2 new additions to this tank. The other plant he brought me is some guppy grass, and that guppy grass is over in the 25 gallons, so you're not going to see it on this video. We'll talk about it later. Let's move over and look at the other newbies. Alright, this is floating at the surface, so you can't see all of it. I might get a downward shot here in a moment. But you see, oh, let me check something real quick. But you see, we have some fry in here. This, here's some Christmas moss that I had kind of floating in the tank. It was not doing too well. I allowed it to go behind or underneath my pre-filter intake for my canister filter, and it did not like it down there. So it got kind of beat up. It's looking better already. I've had it floating here at the top for a few days now, but you might have saw that I found some swordtail fry, which I knew were coming. I knew I had a couple of swordtails that were going to be dropping fry, and I thought about just letting them live in the tank. I mean, I've got a fairly dense planted tank. It's not as dense as it used to be, but it's still fairly dense. I thought about just letting them live here and survive. I think I've even done some shorts and some videos with them. But I really want to have more of these, and I decided to pull a few. So I pulled 8 initially. They're all in here. They're all thriving. I pulled 8, put them in here, put in the Christmas moss, added. I got a couple of frog bit on the top. The snails were not added. They just found their way in, as they always do. But these guys are doing well. Today I have found some more fry, and so I put in 2 new fry this morning. I'm not seeing any more in the tank, which is kind of surprising to me. But the last swordtail that dropped fry in this tank, it was very slowly. They did not all happen at once. I started seeing them, they started showing up, and then I saw a bunch of them. So probably, maybe it's going to be the same thing. I know these fish were all about the same age. They were very young when I got them. So they just reached maturity. This should be their first fry, and hopefully they do well. That's going to, they're going to grow up in my water. That's going to make them stronger in my water. Really looking forward to having these grow up. I don't know yet if they are the red or orange. They're orangish red. They're a burnt orange. If they're the red or if they are the pineapples. The first update here is that I trimmed off some of this Anubias. This big piece was the first piece of Anubias that I got. And at one point I cut it so that I had a second one, which is growing nicely. But where I cut it, I had a branch come off, and Tanner did not have Anubias Bartari, which is what I think this is because of the wavy leaves and the size of them. So I cut that off and gave that to him, hoping it does well for him as well as it's done for me. You will see there's some blackbeard algae starting to grow on this plant again, so I'm needing to, honestly, I can tell you what it is. I haven't been consistent on that daily dosing of Easy Green. It got away from me for a few days. I forgot about it just with the holidays and everything. I'm going to try to get back on a regular schedule, I believe, of weekly or twice a week dosing. I think that worked better for me. I'm going to try to get back to that, see if it clears up. If it continues to spread, I may treat it, but I'm going to try to do this without treating it. But it looks great. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this yet. I don't know that I'm going to put this piece of wood back in the 75 when I add the new wood, because it looks very different, but I mean, it still looks good. It's a nice piece of wood. I've had this wood. Actually, this Anubias came on that piece of wood. All right, let's look at a few other things. My Nano Petite, Anubias Nano Petite, still doing well. It is, I just love it. It's one of my favorites. I don't plan on this piece of wood going in the 75. For sure, it's not going in the 75. Probably going to go in the 25. May even cut it down some. But I don't plan on putting all of these in the 75. I may pull one piece and move it to the 25. This piece down here used to be at the top, and it dealt with algae the most. The top is starting to deteriorate. I did boil this. I didn't really boil it, but I put it in boiling water, and it's coming apart. I think that might have something to do with it. I've read that a lot, that if you boil them, they break down more quickly. I believe that's happening. You can see the crypt stump in this shot. Still got green leaves, still growing. This has happened before with this crypt though, and then it's melted back. Hopefully it continues to grow. There's actually a lot of small crypts popping up in this area. That's probably because that big crypt died. I'm really looking forward to, well, I would say I'm looking forward to it filling in. I don't think it's going to fill in before I break this tank down. The Cryptspiralis is in here, and the new leaves are looking even better. The leaves that had previously grown in are starting to melt back some. I've not read. I've always been told that crypts don't like a lot of light. So I've not been intentional about keeping light on them. However, in one of Corey's most recent Aquarium Co-op videos where he's looking at his tubs, he talked about how, or I guess it was tanks, he talked about how some crypts were melting back because they were being starved out for light. Maybe I'm dealing with that because of the floaters. That's possible. The duckweed's still looking okay right now. The frog bit is pretty dense. I need to get rid of some of it. One of my local stores will take it, and I might share some at my club, which they didn't take any last time, so maybe I shouldn't. Oh, that's another plant in here. I do have, I think Tanner said they're red root floaters. They're not red right now, but I believe he said they're red root floaters. I'm looking forward to seeing that. That'd be really cool. But yeah, maybe there's some dwarf Sagittaria just kind of randomly growing in the back here. But hopefully these do well. I'm hoping they grow in. One thing that I am disappointed in is during all this melt back, I have lost, oh, it may be back here. I had 2 pieces of Cryptocorn tropica, and I don't see them anymore. I may see them right now, but they've melted back quite a bit. If you see that really yellow leaf right here, and then that's a sign of nitrogen deficiency, I believe. I need to look it up, but it looks like nitrogen deficiency to me. And then this leaf right here is just kind of coming apart. So I need to reevaluate what I'm doing with these crypts. Center to the right, one of my Amano shrimp taking care of this piece of wood, doing a great job. They're getting huge. I don't see them that often, but when I see them, they're just gorgeous. I love Amano shrimp. I bought more root tabs, mainly for my Amazon swords, but I also shoved a few extra in my Vallisneria. It's still growing those curly. You can see one right in here. There. Oh, that's my thumb. Where are we at? Can you see it right there? I think that's it. Still growing those curly leaves. Not looking that great. I may give this a trim. I thought Vallisneria would melt back. I think mine has melted back some when I've cut it in the past, but being told, seeing online, that it'll be fine. So I'm thinking about doing that. One of my favorite Corys right here, this Sturbai Corydora, just kind of resting on this rock. This is the one that survived the 8 that I bought this year. It's doing well, growing. Sometimes I have to look around and look for my older one just to see which one is the young one, because I feel like we're growing so much. I've also moved 2 of the green Corys over from the 25 gallon to see how they'll do over here, and they are doing splendidly. So I'm probably going to pick out at least a couple more to move over here when I do eventually build that rack and start doing some other tanks. I want to put the Sturbai in a tank by themselves and get a school of those going. One of my local shops is getting them from somebody local who's raising them up, so they've already been in this area in this water, and they're eating when they get them. So I'm looking forward to getting some of those and enjoying those. Got some huge ram's horn snails going on in here. I've seen a few more pond snails as well. Let's see if we can take a look at some of these swordtails. So I've got a pineapple swordtail right here. She was carrying, so here she is right here. She was carrying, and she doesn't appear to be anymore. So she's dropped fry in here somewhere. I'm hoping they are hiding, and I can find them in the next few days and pull them out. You also may notice there's a few guppies swimming in. I pulled some guppies that I really liked their color, and I brought them over to the 75. I brought one male and 3 females. So there's 4 females in here and 1 male. And one of those females is this albino up here at the top. I had a trio of these. I missed the fry several times. I had so many mollies in here that the fry just kept getting gobbled up, I'm guessing. And so I'm going to try to, because she's the only one I have, and I really don't plan on chasing albinos. I'm not going to do that good with culling them, and I don't have enough tanks. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and see if she breeds with the male that I put in here. He's a beautiful color. He's like yellow and orange. He's in the back as soon as I put it on him. This male is doing pretty good. He's starting to get his tail, but he is getting bullied a little bit by my larger male that I didn't plan on having. I ended up, and you see this female is still carrying, this female pineapple in the back. She is still carrying some fry. I feel like she's not as big as she was though, so maybe we've got some in here. That male is up here in this top corner. See if I can get my finger. Where am I? Right there. Back there. He looks good. I think he'll look really good with the fish that are in here. I love this tank. It has looked better. I'm really excited about the rocks that I have and the wood that I have to add. And so I'm going to do a lot of work on this probably this coming weekend. Following weekend we have a lot going on, so I can't get to it then, and then it'll be Christmas. So if I can't get to it this weekend, it'll be first of the year before I get this done. But really excited about what's to come and looking forward to sharing it with you all. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the 75 gallon. And if you did, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate all of you who have subscribed. I do check and look at how many of my views come from subscribers, and it's pretty high compared to, and that's probably true for most young channels, but it's pretty high, and it does benefit the channel if you'll like the videos, so that would be cool as well. And if you do subscribe and you do like this and you want to hit that notification, YouTube will be sure to let you know what's going on with my channel. Hopefully they do that. I think they will. Don't forget to check us out on the live streams on Tuesday nights. I hope you're enjoying your tanks. Stay scruffy.